Hello, people of the tube, and welcome back to another review. As usual, I'm Chris.
I'm in the real deal.
We just got out of seeing Fast and the Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw, the newest, or is it Shaw and Hobbs?
Hobbs and Shaw.
The newest film in the Fast and the Furious franchise. He, like I said before, he's a huge fan. I never got into them until 5, but we just got out of seeing it. You know what? You talk about it first. I'm still going through what I think about it.
Well, I'm not really best in terms of, describing, about every little detail of what
Do you want me to just go through the story real quick?
Well, yeah.
Okay. So, of course, Rock is fucking Hobbs, and Shaw's, of course, played by Jason Statham. In the beginning, they're called up. They're like, hey, there's this virus, and, of course, Idris Elba is the new villain. He wants this virus because he works for this cultish, futuristic group that wants to end part of the weak human civilization.
Wants to basically destroy, lesser minds.
Yeah, and the civilization through this virus. It ends up going into Shaw's sister, and basically the rest of the movie is them trying to get the virus out of her and save the world. Mm-hmm. And that's it. So yeah, you can start this one.
All right. In terms of what I thought about this movie, honestly, I thought it was awesome. Granted, I don't consider it, better than 7. But still, granted, it was awesome. It's definitely a good spinoff. I'd still honestly prefer, for them to end the series with 7, but, you can't turn back time with that. But, like I said, I was just absolutely intrigued by every little thing. The only thing that I had a little bit of a pet peeve with was Kevin Hart cameoed in this film, and I'm not sure how I really felt about that. He didn't need to be there. They could have left him out. But in terms of everything else, I liked it. Especially the main event. Fucking awesome. Beautiful. Fucking just adrenaline pumping.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
1 to 10? I'll give it an 8.
An 8?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Rock and Statham, Hobbs and Shaw, they were great. That's... I had no doubt that they were going to be good. I knew they were going to be good. I knew they'd have some good lines. They were going to shit all over each other, get in arguments, blah, blah, blah. I knew they were going to be okay. The story itself is kind of cliche. Really, it kind of goes back to, this weird, 80s James Bond air goofy shit, like the movie GoldenEye or some shit like that. The acting on everybody, I was fine. None of it was Oscar worthy. It was fine. Fast and the Furious levels.
Right.
The villain, I will admit, I didn't like the villain in this movie. I thought it was weak.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there. Whenever he first came out, you thought, there's some, this would be an interesting villain, but as the movie progressed, he kind of got dull really fast.
Yeah, Idris Elba, fucking name always messes with me.
Yeah, I'm not good with names, so I'm just...
He's a great actor. He's always been a good actor. Hell, he was, everyone wants him as James Bond because he's so charismatic as an actor in a lot of his roles. And he wasn't in this. He was, I don't know how to feel about it because his character is supposed to be part robot. And he's not supposed to be, I guess, have emotions and shit. I get it. But the problem is he wasn't interesting as a villain. Anytime that he was being a villain, I was kind of like, he's this generic bad guy. And he's not even good generic bad guy, as in the overreacting, goofy, over the top. He's more like I'm this boring British Idris Elba guy, and I'm just going to sit here and talk, and I'm going to sound like this because I'm kind of robot, but I'm not really sure if that's what they were trying to get through, if his acting was because he was partial robot or not. But it was he was boring. I thought that the reasons he was a bad guy was kind of lame. He was a bad guy because he got killed and became a bad guy. I thought that was kind of lame. He's definitely weak sauce, as you would say, when it comes to villains. Like the villain in 7, you know what he reminds me of? He reminds me in 7 of the second villain, not Jason Statham, but the one that rode around in that fucking giant plane. You remember how they rode around that plane shit and they were driving around New York City and shit?
Are you talking about the female or the one guy?
The one guy. Do you know how it had the woman and then the black guy from, like, Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah.
Yeah, like him. Because he was just boring.
Right.
There's nothing about... That's who he reminds me of. Of that entire, like, all those playing characters, just this boring individual. The thing about what made 7's villain great was Jason Statham. He's a good villain. He was charismatic. He was interesting. They had a dynamic with, like, Hobbs and Shaw. That's why they made this movie, is because... him as a villain was good, and Hobbs and him were good going against each other.
Yeah.
But the villain was weak. The story was cliche. And here's the thing. I've seen all the good ones, but I haven't watched one in years. And I've never watched 2 or 3 or 4, but I've seen 5, 6. I've seen the movies when they turned into these, like, crime, over-the-top, vehicle-smashing, guns-blazing movies.
When it was more action than, like, the racing aspect.
Yeah, I've seen all those. And out of all of them, this one, to me, is the most ridiculous. Which is saying a lot, because in 7, they were jumping cars through fucking, like, skyscrapers and shit. They were doing impossible shit. And then, of course, in 8... fucking Rock or whoever it was catching goddamn missiles with their feet and turning them around and shit. Like, and the big old boat and shit. Like, 8 was fucking ridiculous. But this movie makes it look pussy. Like, shit happens in this movie where everyone should be dead. No shit. Period. Ain't no one surviving half the shit that happened in this movie. Period. And that really does. It bothers me. It kind of does. I'm used to, like, really crazy shit, but there comes a point where I have to look at the movie and go, that may have been a little too crazy. Like the motorcycle shit. And Idris Elba going through the fucking bus. Like, there comes a point where I have to go, that may have been pushing it a little too much for my belief. And they did that quite a few fucking times. Especially, man, that scene where Rock was coming down the goddamn building. That was ridiculous. It was fun. That's the thing. This movie is really fun. But it's so over the top that even me, who watches shit like trauma movies, has to go, okay, you may be going a little bit too far over the top. But it was okay. Like, for me, I would compare it to maybe, like, 6. Because 6, for me, was kind of boring, but then it was decent, you know? For me, this is like 6. It's the first half, even the action, for me, was just kind of empty. It was kind of boring. Maybe it's because I've seen that type of action now tons of times. This over-the-top, like, Fast and the Furious, fight scene. Maybe it's because I've seen it a lot, but it didn't do anything for me. Until the last half of the film, where Rock goes back to his homeland of Samoa, and they bring out all these, like, Samoan weapons, and it's hand-to-hand shit, and there's, like, people getting beat with, like, spears and clubs, and we've seen, like, wrestling moves and shit. Now, that was fun. Mm-hmm. I loved that shit. The last half of the movie was fantastic. My problem is with, like, the first half of the movie and the villain. If I had to rate this, let's see, what'd I give 7? Like a 8? I think 7, I got an 8 from me. I'm pretty sure 6 got, like, a 6. It was either 6 or 7. So, I'd have to give this movie a 6. Because it's not bad, but it's no 7 and it's no 5. I'm glad I seen it, but I'm gonna have to give it a 6. It's a watch it. No, it's definitely worth a watch. Light went off. Oh,
there we go.
it's okay. It's worth a watch, especially if you like the over-the-top action scenes of the other Fast and the Furious movies. Mm-hmm. So go check it out while it's still in theaters. It's worth a watch.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And if you miss it, I mean, whenever it comes to Blu-ray or DVD or whatever, definitely go get it. It's without a doubt definitely worth a buy. At least I think, anyway.
It's okay. For me, I don't think I'd buy it because maybe for cheap. Like, I bought 7 when it first came out because I thought 7 was definitely worth buying because it's a good fucking movie. I still haven't bought Fate of the Furious. I'm not really in a hurry to because I didn't care for it all that much. So for me, this is kind of like Fate or 6. I'm not going to be like, I got to watch it again anytime soon. So go check it out while it's in theaters. It's definitely a fun time. We were basically in the theaters alone, so we were able to actually say shit, make fun of the movie, have fun with it. Mm-hmm. Definitely helps the experience, I think. I mean, don't get me wrong, it definitely would be fun to watch anyway, but bring your buddy with you. Y'all can talk about how crazy this shit is. When they were doing the wrestling moves, we were like, by God, King, he fucking chokeslammed him, by God, it's a bona fide slobber knocker, loud as we could in the theater. We were having fun.
Oh yeah.
So for me, it's a 6 out of 10, but it's worth a watch.
Yeah, and I'll stick with my 8 out of 10 because I truly did enjoy it, even though it seemed kind of dull and cliche. At the first half of it, it was still enjoyable.
Yeah. No, I think so too.
So I thought this was a pretty good spinoff for the series.
I do. I hope if they do a next one, which they will, because this movie probably made enough money from doing.
I'd imagine so.
If they do a next one, it will be cool to have the Hobbs and Shaw dynamic, but maybe a little less arguing, maybe tighten up the story more, and maybe have a better villain. It doesn't have to be as good as 7 or as good as 5. But I think if they tightened up the script, wrote it a little better, got a better villain, and actually made them work together better, mm-hmm. then it would easily be as good as maybe 5 or 7. So,
well, of course, there was that little thing at the end where the guy that was puppeteering.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he says he's from Hobbs' past, so it's probably going to be someone in the series. So.
Yeah, so I'm hoping there's, a pretty damn good twist, there's betrayal or something amongst those lines, so.
Yeah. It'd be fucking, I mean, of course, he's dead, but it'd be really fucked up as if, what's-his-face actually wasn't dead. In the real world. Like
Paul Walker?
Yeah, Paul Walker just comes out of, nowhere. I've been the villain!
That would be fucked for, a few reasons, I'd imagine.
Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be fucked up if he actually just played dead. And then came back as the villain. I mean, trust me, it's not going to happen. No, I have a feeling it's going to be someone from the old movies. It's either going to be, an old villain, or it's going to be maybe one of the good guys. Fucking Laddie or some shit. I don't think it's gonna be her. I don't think it's gonna be Dom. But it's gonna be something stupid.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be fucking Ludacris. And by Ludacris, I mean the actor from the movies and the rapper. Not Ludacrisism, bad.
No. See, I think it's Soulja Boy.
I hope it's Ludacris, because it'll be fucking Ludacris, if you know what I mean. Oh, yeah!
Got him!
Got him! Alright, guys. Peace the fuck out.
Peace.